Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here today to talk about 5 tips when it comes to putting up dry foods. So this can be foods you've dried yourself or freeze dried, or it can be things that you buy that are already just in a dry form. And before I continue, I just want to share that this is based on my own experience. I just want to share this with you, things that you can consider. Just keep in mind, everybody's going to have different thoughts and opinions on some of this stuff. So just do what you think is best for you. And my first point that I wanted to cover is that, in my personal opinion, there is very rarely ever a need for oxygen absorbers or desiccants. Now, the difference between the two is one absorbs oxygen and the other one absorbs moisture. Again, this is going to be entirely up to you. But if you're talking about your own dehydrated or freeze-dried goods, you should have most or all of the moisture removed from them anyway. When it comes to things like dried fruit, such as these cranberries right here, they should still retain a certain amount of flexibility because of the sugar content. And I personally don't like my raisins and my cranberries and certain other things to be rock hard when I go to either snack on them or use them for baking. So I'm not going to use moisture absorbers just for that sake alone. And if you're vacuum sealing things into jars like I do here, or even into Mylar bags, if you're vacuum sealing, there really is no need for oxygen absorbers. Now, some people will tell you, well, vacuum sealing doesn't remove all the oxygen. And that's probably true. But as long as you're getting most of it out, you're still going to preserve your foods for a much longer period of time than not vacuum sealing at all. So to me, I've worked with oxygen absorbers a few times. I find them to be utterly worthless. Again, my own personal opinion. And the other thing that bothers me about them is that you buy a pack of them, you want to buy a big pack because it's, you can save money that way, but unless each one is individually wrapped, you have to use them all up right away. Otherwise, even if you vacuum seal those into a jar, it can still be too late if you're not moving fast enough. Again, my own personal experience. And I have had some that I vacuum sealed into jars really fast, and they still were useless when I went to use them. So I just gave up on them and find them to be a complete waste of money, and I have never used desiccants. With that said, tip number 2, if you're dehydrating your own things, whether it be meats or fruits or vegetables or herbs, you want to make sure before you pack them into your jars or your bags and you vacuum seal them that they are completely cooled down to room temperature. The reason for this is if you don't do that, you can end up with sweating inside of your jars or your bags, and this will then cause the foods to mold and spoil. And obviously you don't want that. Even if they're vacuum sealed, it can still happen. So you got to make sure everything is cooled down. Some things are going to take longer. So a year ago, I dehydrated up a whole bunch of potatoes. I spread them out on this board so that they could cool down to room temperature. I felt them, and then I put them and thought, okay, they're cooled down. They feel like they're good enough to go in the jars. I still did it too soon because potatoes take a lot longer to cool down completely to room temperature. And thankfully, I had left the jars on which is a habit I do now, is anytime I vacuum seal or can anything, I always leave it on the counter for 24 hours at least to make sure the seals have held. So the next morning I get up and check my potatoes and I can see sweating in there. So I had to take them, put them in the dehydrator for about an hour or so to make sure they got fully dried again, lay them out, let them completely cool so that wouldn't happen again. That did work out pretty good. One thing to keep in mind with something that's dense like potatoes, the thicker you cut it, the longer it's going to take to dehydrate and also to fully cool down. So personally for me, I won't do the potato chunks again unless I dice them up to a quarter of the size I had them. I had them about this big. I won't do that again. So when it comes to stuff like that, going with a smaller sizes is going to be better. And this is the same reason why I do not oven can dry goods, because it can cause moisture buildup inside the jars. Not always, but it can happen. Now I want to cover some of the things that you really don't need to vacuum seal. You can actually keep them stored in the packaging they came in, as long as the packaging will keep those items dry. I used to vacuum seal a lot of my dairy powders into jars, and then I realized it's, as long as the packaging is good, there's no need to really do that. However, if you're doing it for a longer term storage, like maybe you have a set location where you put your long-term things you want to last for years, it may still be a good idea to vacuum seal your dairy powders and some of the other things I'm going to mention for a longer term. But I find that most of the time, my dairy powders, my coffee beans, like I have here, Shepherd's Crook, the shirt that I'm wearing, I have no concern about keeping it in these bags. I've kept coffee beans stored for many years, even in the clear plastic bags they've come in without any issue. But sometimes that will also depend on whether or not you can store that stuff in a cool enough place that it's not going to spoil on you or go rancid. Some of your really dry vegetables and herbs do not need to be vacuum sealed. I still vacuum seal, like this sage here from 2022. It is vacuum sealed because I want to make sure I preserve the freshness for as long as possible, and that will definitely help. Some other things you do not need to vacuum seal that I never do would be my grains like rice, wheat berries, barley, popcorn, and so on. I don't bother vacuum sealing that stuff. I just store it. If I can, I store it in the bags they came in, even if they're like triple or quadruple layered paper, inside a plastic bucket. If I'm putting it into my long-term storage, then I'm more likely to use a Mylar bag that I will push out as much of the air as I can. I still don't use oxygen absorbers, and then seal up the Mylar and then have it inside of a bucket. You can also use galvanized garbage cans, which can be a really good idea if you are concerned about rats and mice getting into it, because they will chew through plastic. But this is where Mylars also can be good, because it will help prevent the scent from being able to attract the rats and mice to those things. And pasta is another thing that's not necessary to vacuum seal. In fact, all of the pasta, even though I can and do sometimes make my own pasta, all of the pasta I stock up in, I keep it in their original paper bags that they come in. And usually those are made in such a way that they can keep that stuff for a very long time. Again, never have had any issues with weevils, mold, mildew, or spoilage of any kind in my pasta, and I've had it stored like that for years in my pantry. The main thing you have to watch out for is making sure you're protecting it from getting moisture. So my next point is on things that I highly recommend you do vacuum seal, though some people will say you shouldn't do that, but that would be your things like your nuts and seeds, anything that's high in fat like that. Your dehydrated meats and more, because if they have any fat in them and you don't vacuum seal, then these things can and will go rancid, especially things like Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, anything that's got a higher fat content. So I always vacuum seal for long term, all these kind of things, so that they don't go rancid. I mentioned the meats because a lot of times your meat, no matter how much fat you remove from them, and sometimes you want to leave that fat for flavor anyway, vacuum sealing will prevent that fat in there from going rancid. And I, again, can attest to this from experience. I've had jars that either of meat that I was working through and forgot to re-seal it, re-vacuum seal it, and the rest of it sat, and then it had some fat in it and it went rancid. Whereas another jar that I'd never opened, that might have even been older, was still just as good as it was the day I put it in there. So we're talking like dried ground meats, dried meats that I first cooked, frozen, then dehydrated, so they turn out nice and crispy and easy for use in anything, and rehydrate quite well. All of this stuff keeps very, very well as long as I keep it vacuum sealed. I also highly recommend vacuum sealing all of your fruits, again, like your cranberries, your raspberries. Here I have some kiwis, your home dried pineapple, or even if you out of freeze drying, your freeze drying stuff, the vacuum sealing will keep those items crispy. And for the dehydrated fruits, it will keep them chewy instead of turning hard. And the other thing I highly recommend you vacuum seal is if you're making any kind of produce powders, especially things like tomato powder. Tomato powder will just turn to a brick if you do not vacuum seal it into your jars and re-vacuum seal it after every use. For me, instead of powdering up my tomatoes after I process them in a blender and dehydrate them, I simply just flake them up. I find that works really well. They don't turn into a brick. I don't have to worry about vacuum sealing that jar in between every use, the jar that I'm using. But the ones that stay back in storage are always vacuum sealed, just to keep that fresh. But if it's a powder, if you decide to powder it first, you really need to vacuum seal it and either put them in smaller jars or vacuum seal after every time you take anything out there, and make sure the rim of it's clean, because that tomato powder can build up on the rim of that jar and prevent you from getting good seal on your lid when you go to reseal it. A few other things, and these are just examples, would be if you're putting up dry cereals or you're making your own granola, vacuum seal those into larger jars like your half gallon or whole gallon jars. Vanilla beans, I prefer my vanilla beans to stay flexible and soft so that they'll be nice and fresh when I go to add them to my perpetual vanilla extract. Crackers is another thing, whether they be store-bought or homemade. Again, once you're done making these things, make sure they're fully cooled down before you vacuum seal them into anything. And of course, the whole raw eggs that I dehydrate, I try to keep them as raw as possible so I can use them in bacon. Remember, before anybody freaks out about salmonella, remember, I'm not eating the egg powder straight from the jar. I'm using it for baking. You don't put cooked eggs into your cookies and your breads and your pancakes and so on. You use raw eggs. That's why I like to keep them raw, and I dehydrate at a low temperature, 115 degrees, and have no issues with it spoiling in the process. And then I vacuum seal those into jars for long-term storage. But what I found with the eggs, even though they do have fat in them, I can have a jar in here that I'm working through, especially if it's a smaller jar, and not have any problems with it going bad no matter how long it takes me to work through that jar. I still recommend, though, if you're putting it in storage, vacuum seal that. And one more, I almost forgot to mention, I have some right back here. Chocolate chips or any other kind of baking chips, if you want to keep them as fresh for as long as possible, vacuum sealing these into jars works really well. You can keep them in the packaging, especially if you don't think you need them for a long term. But if it's something you're trying to put away, vacuum seal them into jars. I have a lot of chocolate chips vacuum sealed into jars. Now I get all my milk chocolate chips, because it's really hard to find the organic milk chocolate chips, from Azure Standard. So that's a 5-pound bag right there. A little spendy, but it'd take me for quite a long time to work through a 5-pound bag of milk chocolate chips, especially since I have a bunch of another organic brand that are semi-sweet ones that are vacuum sealed into jars. I'm kind of getting my points all mixed up, so forgive me for being a little bit scatterbrained, but I forgot a few things of other things you do not need to vacuum seal. That would be honey, any of your sugars, your salt. None of that stuff's going to go bad as long as you're keeping it safe from moisture. All that stuff's going to be fine. Molasses doesn't need it either. Maple syrup, depending on the water content, you may want to vacuum seal just to prevent mold from growing on top. But even then, if it does, it's usually just on the top, and it's because of the water content that can be removed. And the maple syrup should still be good. And what preserves that is the maple syrup, the molasses, the honey, is the sugar. The sugar is a natural preservative. So that's why it's really not a concern to have to vacuum seal or preserve them in any special way. Now, the last point is, I kind of covered this already, but as a lot of the foods that you're buying that's pre-packaged, there's a lot of things you can store as is depending on how they're packaged. If they're packaged in plastic, especially a clear plastic, you may want to go ahead and repackage that stuff. Now all the coffee I get is in packages like this. I haven't bought any in the clear plastic bags in a long time, and I won't do that again. And if I have to, that would get repackaged just to be on the safe side, because it's going to prevent light exposure and then, trying to get away from the plastics as much as possible. And then a lot of the stuff that I get from Azure that's in, depending on what it is, usually they're in bags that have some kind of special food grade coating on the inside and they're paper. And a lot of times I'll just keep them as is. Other things you don't need to repackage would be things that you buy, like freeze-dried and dehydrated goods that you buy in number 10 cans. They will be fine for many years in those number 10 cans. They're made that way to store for at least 25 years. And that's just a number they throw out there. They can last indefinitely. As long as no seals get broken, they will be just fine. The only reason they even put a number on it is because no matter how the food was preserved, there will be a certain amount of nutrient loss over time, but you'll still be maintaining all of your minerals, a good amount of your vitamins, all your fiber and protein, and so on. There's some other things that I get that are usually already packed in Mylar would be some of the freeze-dried foods that I do like to stock up on because they're things that we don't already grow, and it's just easy enough for me to get those from Mother Earth product. They're carrying a lot of organic, freeze-dried, and dehydrated fruits and vegetables, and I buy them in the Mylar bags rather than the plastic jars that they call them, and then just put them away as is. They're already sealed, they're ready to go, and some of that goes out to our off-site long-term storage place, and some of that stays here. And I do not worry about repackaging. But what I do want to say about the number 10 cans, if you open a can of, especially if it's freeze-dried goods, what I do recommend you do at that point, once the can is open, that you do repackage those things, especially freeze-dried, because the more you work through that can, and there's going to be a lot of space in there, airspace, it will pick up moisture. Even if you put the plastic lid on there, it's still going to pick up moisture in there and they will go stale. So in that case, I don't buy those foods in number 10 cans, but I still have a lot back when I was buying from Honeyville. And if I ever open one of those, whatever I'm not using gets put into usually quart jars and vacuum sealed so that they do not go stale. Even the stuff like the stuff that comes in the Mylar bags, if it's freeze dried, it's best to repackage what you're not using up right away. So that's it for my 5 tips on storing dry foods. Again, whether it be your own freeze dried, dehydrated foods, or foods that you buy that's already just in a dry form. Any thoughts, ideas you would like to share, please put them in the comments down below. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.